Hey guys, it's your girl. It's your legal bestie, Attorney Simone. And this is an episode of Girl, Is That Legal? With your girl, Attorney Simone. Sorry, I said that like 5 different times in 5 different ways. Listen, we're going to jump on in this. Thank you guys so much for joining. Listen, we have a lot to cover. So initially, I had just one topic, but so much has gone on today. We're going to cover them all, right? And then after this, I'm going to break this up into separate topics. I'm also going to add chapters because if you're watching and you have ADD like me, then you already know. Happy Thursday, guys. Okay, where are you joining from? Hit that like button. Thank you, guys. Hit that like button. Here's what we got on the docket. See, I'm an attorney. I'm a real lawyer, guys. So I give my opinion from that perspective. And what we've got on the docket today are the questions that y'all guys have been DMing to me most. Okay. So we have number one, how come nobody will sue Jaguar Wright? If she's lying, if this is defamation, they trying to sue everybody but her. Pierce Morgan, this, that, and the third. Why won't nobody sue Jaguar? We're going to talk about that. Number two, the Diddy trial date that was established today. There is a tentative date on the schedule. And also, Diddy's lawyers are trying to find the mole. In other words, they are claiming that someone within the feds has been leaking, which is really interesting because another story we're going to cover is how it appears Diddy and his attorneys have been leaking. And then finally, we're going to talk about, is Pastor Keion scamming? Pastor Keion, you know, he has kind of stepped in the shoes of Mr. Creflo Dollar. Remember Pastor Creflo Dollar, who was not born with the last name Dollar. He changed it to that because he wanted to take yours. Yes, Pastor Keion has come out here and he told you, don't give to the poor, give to him. Okay. Don't give to the poor, give to him. And I pulled some actual records. I pulled some receipts. And we're going to go through those receipts to determine, is Pastor Keion being honest about what he wants to do with this money? And if so, does it even make sense? Okay. We're going to talk about all of that. Hey, Karen. I see Karen McDowell. She says, I'm hooked. Thank you, girls. Thank you, girl. Oh, I see Nisi D from the DMV. Atasha 72 said there's some truth behind what she says. Now I agree with that. There is some truth in the same way that my crackhead auntie, she don't do crack anymore, but you know, she got into some crack when she was 15 and she ran away. Okay. And she got into some bad crack. And ever since then, she ain't been all right. That's kind of like how Jaguar Wright is. She has her moments. You know, auntie would have her moments where she would make sense, but a lot of the other moments wouldn't make any sense. So on that note, we are going to start with the Jaguar Wright story. So, and before we get to that, just to let you guys know, I'm Attorney Simone. This is my website. If you would like to, number one, you can get my book at SimoneRedwine.com. Here's the website. You can order. It's called Background Checks 101. The guide to discovering who the heck you're actually dealing with. I give you tips and tricks and even websites to use to run background checks on, is it, you know, someone you're dating? Is it a caregiver for your loved ones? All of the above. You've got that right there. It's only $19.99. And also, if you'd like to schedule a consult with me, I do consultations on legal issues across America. Some people have asked, what's my specialty? Well, what I focus on now is I primarily do serious injuries and accidents, wrongful death, those kind of cases. But throughout my almost 20 years of practice, I've done a variety of issues from family law to criminal law, all of the above. So I do legal strategy consultations on all of the above, where we have our consult. It starts at $149 for 30 minutes. We get you a strategy to get you where you want to go. So if you're looking for a fantastic family lawyer in your state, if you have, if it's a custody issue, whatever the case may be, contact my office. You can book a consult here, scroll down to book hire attorney Simone. Boom. You can do that there. And the consultations, as I said, start at $129. So earlier this week, so last week, Piers Morgan. So we're going to talk about Jaguar Wright. Here's the tea. We're going to talk about why is it nobody will sue Jaguar Wright. She done been on this Beyonce's internet, Al Gore's internet, whatever internet you want to call it, okay? She done been on this thing talking about people, telling their business, and saying all kinds of things that would otherwise be considered, conspiracy theories. Yet people want to sue everybody but her. Well, I'm going to give you the breakdown of why. So this all comes from Piers Morgan's show last week. He had Jaguar Wright on, as well as DJ Vlad and attorney Ariel Mitchell Kidd. Okay. And in that interview, Jaguar Wright made comments about Beyonce and Jay-Z, basically saying that Jay-Z is a monster. He is the core and the crux, and he is basically as bad, if not worse, than Diddy. And a bunch of other allegations. Baby, Jay-Z's lawyers didn't even send this man a cease and desist. So many people thought, they sent Piers a cease and desist. No, they didn't. His lawyers simply picked up the phone to the legal department of Pierce's show. And whatever he said, that man, it's like when your granny whoop you so hard you can't breathe. Okay, that man got whooped so hard in that conversation, whatever happened, where he could not breathe. And everybody said, Piers is crazy also. Yeah, Piers is not a good person. He's pretty terrible. Okay. So attorneys for Jay-Z Beyonce picked up the phone and they called the legal department for Pierce's show. And they basically said, take it down. They said, take it down. They didn't even send no cease and desist. And see, that attorney allegedly cost $2,000 an hour. And they said, that attorney said, I'm not even going to write a cease and desist. I'm going to pick up this phone. I'm going to tell you, take that down. Okay. And he took it down. And not only did he take it down, he wrote an apology. And so many people say, why are they only going off for Piers? It's the money. She ain't got no money. She ain't got no money. Jaguar ain't got no money. And everybody knows Jaguar is crazy. To sue Jaguar Wright is like suing a homeless person, okay? It's like suing my crackhead auntie. You can sue her. And guess what? Auntie Joyce was, God bless her soul, she's watching us from heaven. Hey, girl, you know you like these stories I tell about you. If you've ever heard my Auntie Joyce stories, I was on the podcast, Dear Future Wifey, in January of 2023. You got to check it out. I give some Auntie Joyce stories, but my Auntie Joyce, like I said, when she was about 15, she thought she was grown. You know, when you're in my granny house and you think you're grown, my granny said, well, get the hell out of here. So she got the hell out of there. She ran away. She got into some bad crack and she ain't been the same since. Well, she used to tell stories just like Jaguar Wright. Okay. And so my point is, if you sue Jaguar Wright, it's like suing my crackhead auntie. She's not on the crack anymore because she passed away. But even at the end, she wasn't on that because, crack is whack. But it does no good. More than that, what's even more significant is suing Jaguar Wright doesn't stop the video. And that was the goal. The goal of picking up that phone was to stop the video, because once that video was up, then other YouTubers like myself and others were going to that video, citing that video, and then making their commentary. You got to stop the source. So here, number one, they stopped the source. Number two, they are able to, he has the pockets. If you need to sue anybody, it's going to be him and his network. What Jaguar got? Okay, Jaguar is still missing some of her teeth. Bless her heart. Okay. Bless her heart. She's still missing some of her teeth. Some of the teeth are not there. They're not apparent. They are on vacation. They might be coming back, but they're not there today. Therefore, I think if you're going to pick who you want to sue and in what order, you want to start with the people that have all of their teeth, because they're more likely to have dental insurance and therefore other insurance and the other coverage and the ability to cover attorneys. You get it. Okay, hit that like button as you come on in here. It says, Mashed Potatoes said, Pierce already got in trouble with the Royal Sussex, so his team ain't having it. The other thing is this: I want to walk you through. Baby, I've been sued before for defamation, honey, because I be out here telling the truth. And you're not telling enough truth if you ain't been sued for defamation, because it's the best way to silence you. So if you Google me, you can look up in 2016, myself and the ABC News Network, WFAA for Dallas, Texas, where I was living at the time. We got sued in relation to a wrongful death case where I was representing a family whose kindergartner had died due to a dangerous medical device, FDA cleared medical device that was super dangerous, right? I went on the news, I gave the story. Then the company who did not want that story to get out sued me and ABC News Network. So the first thing that happens when that attorney, Jay-Z's attorney, picked up the phone and made that call, the legal department says, hold on. Do we want to walk into a claim, or do we just want to stop this now? Because if we have a claim, we have to turn it over to our insurance. That could cause the insurance premiums to go up. Y'all gotta remember, like, insurance runs America because money runs America. So ultimately what happened here is when that attorney made that call to the legal department had to decide, do we want another claim on our insurance? Pierce is already a little nitty. Okay. Pierce already be saying crazy stuff and doing weird stuff. Do we want to have another claim on our insurance policy this year? Or do we want to just delete this episode because it's not that big of a deal? So they deleted it. Not only that, by him deleting it, it actually created more attention. So more people are going to his little raggedy show and his little raggedy page and looking at the raggedy page to see what other raggedy news he's reporting. You see how that works? So sometimes the other part of that is with regards to Jaguar Wright. When you sue those people, it simply brings more attention to what they said in the first place. So if your goal is to make it go away, the best way to make it go away is to get to the source, that's publicizing it. Here, it was Pierce's show. Make the show stop and do that. Because Jaguar is going to continue to go on her Instagram, her YouTube, or whatever, and say what she wants to say. Now, they could even have a part of the legal team that just goes and shuts down her page by making complaints. They can do that too. But the main thing is you go for the money. We all know that. Yes. And MD said the legal department was not bagging Jaguar at all. This is not a significant enough aspect of the story. And she sounded loony toony. Okay. I have to say, for those who love her, that's great. I love her too. I love her music. She's not well. She's not okay. So neither was my auntie. Okay. This is my same auntie who set her husband/boyfriend house on fire, and he didn't have no legs, and she set it on fire because she caught him with another woman, and he didn't have no legs, and she took the crutches and she ran out the house. Okay. Luckily, back then they didn't care about black on black crime, so she didn't have to go to jail. She had to pay a fine and some restitution. That's how come I knew about restitution when Christian Gold was out there lying. It's because I done dealt with the restitution for when my crazy crackhead auntie set her husband/boyfriend house on fire who didn't have no legs because he was cheating with another lady. I'm just saying, giving a little backstory. Karen Mitchell has asked about Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown is also unwell. Yes, Cheryl says Pierce is mainstream tabloid gossip. That's correct. Wright is Chitlin Circuit and Black Sewer Section YouTube. Oh my gosh. Well, I can't disagree. E. Peart has asked, why do we have to say Jag is crazy? Maybe she is a victim and using drugs to self-medicate or cope. And just because she may or may not be on drugs doesn't mean what she's saying is not true. I agree. So I'll say this. Bondi Blue says it very well. She just says she's unwell. And Bondi Blue, I love her. She made a comment. She said, it's like she's that one relative who will say a piece of truth, but then have a piece of craziness kind of wrapped around it. So I think that's kind of like what it is. She'll say something that's accurate, but then she'll say a lot of things that don't make sense. For example, there was the interview with Orlando Brown and Jaguar Wright. In the interview, Orlando Brown says, Jaguar Wright wrote The Matrix. And she goes, I sure did. Now, I think we can agree she didn't write The Matrix. Okay. I think we can agree on that. So I would say that would be one of the strange things she says that was not okay. So, yeah. So we got that part. Sidebar. Yeah. Wait. Hamster Scott said she is unwell as hell. Very unwell. Okay, so we get that. Okay, hold on. Whoop. All right, so that's Jaguar Wright. That's the Jaguar Wright saga in summary. And we're gonna move on to Diddy. Dum dum Diddy. Dum dum Diddy. Diddy today was in court. There was another hearing on it's basically a status hearing on the status of the case. The judge determined that there would be no gag order, which means it's not preventing either side from talking, but that the lawyers themselves have agreed not to speak. So some people were like, well, what the hell does that mean? Here's what it means. It means either side's PR rep can say what they want. Now, the feds don't have a PR rep, right? So they don't really have one. But it means the attorneys for each side agreed that they are not going to have a press conference, go in front of the press and give their piece. However, they can have surrogates do that. There is not a limit on what can be said regarding what either side is doing. It's just the lawyers themselves won't be doing the speaking. That's all that means. There is also a protective order in place regarding the evidence that's going to be released to either side in this case. Let me explain to you why. I used to practice in this federal district and I did buku protective orders. Okay. I used to do them all the time. Here, the reason that it's the case is because the allegations here are so salacious that there's a concern it's going to taint the jury pool. Okay. And so that's how come they want, when that evidence comes out, they want it to be sealed from TMZ and all that. And it makes sense to do that. You got to do that before you pick a jury, because you don't want Diddy's people to be able to later come back and be like, oh, Your Honor, we can't get a jury. We can't get a fair jury because we done been out here telling all our business. Okay. So therefore, that's how come they do the protective order. So some people are like, it's to hide evidence. No, it's pretty standard. It's a step that's used to protect the ability to pick a jury, but also to take away the defendant's ability to say is, oh, we can't get a fair jury. No, we got a fair jury because all of this stuff was under seal. Also, because we're dealing with assault allegations, they want to keep that under seal as well. If you are a victim of assault, you wouldn't want TMZ knowing your name and all of that. So that's a component of it too. So we got that part. Let me check a few of these comments and then we're going to go to the next part of the docket, which is, baby, it looks like Diddy paid off one of the victim's boyfriends. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to conclude with Pastor Dollar, not Creflo Dollar, Keion, dollar bills, Henderson. All right. So Karen asks, how can we ever get an untainted jury? Yeah. So what happens is when you pick a jury for days and days, that's why it took like 6 months to sit the jury in the YSL case, because you have to qualify members of the jury. And to qualify them, you ask them a plethora of questions to determine whether or not they can be impartial. So you're going to ask them questions like, in this case, they're going to ask them, did you watch the CNN video of the whooping? Okay. Of the beating. It wasn't even a whooping. It was a beating. Okay. Did you watch that video? Is going to be one of the questions. Did you form an opinion? Do you think that you can be impartial? Really what they do is they look at people's like professions. They look at their political affiliations. So for example, prosecutors, like if a prosecutor is more likely to like Republicans and those it really depends on the county, but prosecutors are going to want probably more women on their jury. Defendants will want more men on their juries. So it varies like that. They're going to look at those things. Yeah, Cheryl says no jury is truly unbased. Karen says he's going to have a mistrial. Well, we sure hope not, because since they're asking for a speedy trial, so in the Diddy case, Diddy is asking for a speedy trial, and this trial date currently is set for May. I believe it's May 5th. When you ask for a speedy trial, there are certain circumstances where if there's a mistrial, if they cannot reconvene a jury promptly, the state does not get to retry the case, or the feds will not get to retry the case. It depends on the grounds of the mistrial. Now, if it's a hung jury mistrial, that's not the case. But if the grounds are something the prosecutor has done, then they can be screwed. That's actually currently the issue right now in the YSL trial. And that's why the prosecutors are so nervous every time the defendants are asking for, particularly Young Thug's lawyer is asking for a mistrial, because if a mistrial in the YSL case is granted due to the behavior of the prosecutor, then that means that they cannot retry Young Thug. And in fact, he wins. He wins because he asked for a speedy trial, and the deadline for that speedy trial has already passed. So again, in YSL, as an example, if a mistrial is caused by the prosecutors, he wins. They can't retry him because of the fact that he can't retry him. Or if he's found not guilty, he wins. So he has two ways of winning: winning a mistrial or being found not guilty. And that's what happens when you ask for a speedy trial. Oh, we don't even have 200 likes in here, y'all. It's over 600 watching. Can we get those likes up, please? And thank you. It says Diddy is likely to name names in the public on the stand and loudly. He will save himself if they don't get him to first. Absolutely. Now, let's not forget his own attorney, the one that was fired, has said that, oh, he's probably going to take the stand. They cannot keep him from the stand. Let me get my commentary on that. Hold on. Oh my gosh, I look like my mommy today. I don't know if you know. If you know my mom, you're like, oh gosh, you look like her, which is good. My mom's cute. Let me tell you, Diddy on the stand. Diddy on the stand would be phenomenal. He will lose. If Diddy takes the stand, oh, the way in which he would lose. Because Diddy is so arrogant. I anticipate he probably would think he could talk his way into innocence. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. And he will not achieve it, because he'll get on that stand and he is going to be so arrogant. And the thing about Diddy is, when Diddy was free, he could not be challenged. You can't challenge Diddy. So as a result, you can't challenge that man. So as a result, when he gets cross-examined, oh, that man's gonna poo-poo in his pants. Okay. Like I tell my 2-year-old niece, did you poo-poo in the body? He ain't gonna poo-poo in the body. He is going to ish himself. He's gonna shit himself. He is that ridiculous. 5-5 is a speedy trial. It sounds far away from me. I know what you mean. So speedy trial is usually 6 months. That's actually 7, and it was probably a coordination issue. Because federal courts those dockets are super tight. So more than likely that was the first available date. Mind you, the other 2 judges that were assigned, they were recused. It was publicly stated in documents and otherwise that the reason the most recent prior judge had to withdraw was because of his affiliation, not with the bank or anything else, but with attorneys on the case. And that could be they were good friends. It could be they went to law school together. It could be they played golf together. It could be a variety of things. We only got 245 likes. Let's get those likes up. Yep. Ibita just said Pluff needs to plead out. The discovery alone can get crazy. Also, the discovery criteria here is they're saying Diddy, because of how private they want to keep the tapes, Diddy can only watch the tapes from the courthouse, because they got to make sure he's not doing any funny business with it. Well, because that's the rule, the issue is that he's not going to have time. There's so many tapes. He's not going to have time to watch them all before trial. I anticipate they're going to file a motion regarding that to complain about that too. But let's go on. We have to talk about the, here we go, TMZ. Diddy extortion. Hold on. We have to talk about on TMZ. I covered this the other day, that the young lady, Thalia Graves, was accused of trying to pay off her ex-boyfriend $3 million in order to support her lies and her testimony with regards to Diddy. Hold on, I'm pulling this up real quick. There we go. There you go. Let me get it back up. Go. This is ghetto. Sorry, guys. My system is like moving super, super slow. I had this up the other day, but it's fine. I'll play the clip for you. You'll follow. But I have to correct myself. So the other day, I covered the story on Thalia Graves, one of Diddy's victims, coming out. And basically, the story was that she she offered to pay her ex-boyfriend $3 million in order to support her version of what happened with Diddy. Here we go. Here we are. And there we go. I'm going to share it. Here we are. So I have to correct myself. So basically, there has been more tea. Honey, honey, honey. Here we go. I'm going to add it to the stage. There has been more tea. I referenced the fact that this young lady, Thalia Graves is her name. So Thalia Graves came out and gave her story. She's being represented by Gloria Allred. Well, shots out to Make It Make Sense. Last night, he revealed the true story behind this. So first of all, I talked about how, I didn't believe her story and that that it is a responsibility of attorneys to make sure all of the facts line up. Her lawyer did so. Gloria Allred did so. This appears to be a situation where Diddy has simply paid off the ex-boyfriend to no longer support. So y'all, this was a lot. I'm going to play some clips from the show that Make It Make Sense did last night. I'm going to play some clips, but I encourage you guys, watch the full show. Here we go. But the gist of it is this. So the gist of her story was back in the early 2000s, she had a boyfriend who worked for Diddy. When she was dating him, Diddy and the bodyguard assaulted her. When they did so, there was a video of it. They showed the video around. And then they told her, do not say anything because it's going to impact your boyfriend's job. In fact, the way that they got this young lady alone is they told her to take a ride with them. They said, we want you to come. We want to talk to you in private regarding your boyfriend's job. Now, mind you, at the time of this is how vulnerable she was. She was a single mom going through a divorce. So she had a young child. She was going through a divorce from her husband. She has this boyfriend who's this, music industry executive. And let me tell you, back in the early 2000s, music industry executives, I was living in New York in those days. When you were living in New York back then, like they had money. Okay, they had money. They would come to me and be like, oh, it's money in the building. Like not me, because I was the last student, and I didn't think like that. But my homegirls that worked at Sue's Rendezvous, the little titty park, that was exactly what they thought. Now, the gist of it is Diddy and the bodyguard got her in the car, said, we need to talk to you about your boyfriend. She does so. They take her to another location and they assault her. I'm going to let Make It Make Sense break down. But then following that, here's the story that TMZ posts out. They said her ex-boyfriend claims that her name is Thalia, offered him a bribe of $3 million if you back my story. Now I'm going to go to the bottom of this and I'm going to tell you. So when I covered the story the other day, and then this is the statement that made me think twice, like, I don't know, maybe she's not lying. It says, as you'll recall, Gloria and Graves held a news conference after the filing, which was very emotional. Thalia sobbed and talked about the physical and mental trauma. Since the lawsuit was filed, Diddy's former security head said he never met her and was not working for Diddy at the time. But hold on. Gloria's statement. Gloria Allred tells TMZ after these allegations about the $3 million, says it's very common that rich, powerful men and their supporters attempt to discredit, shame, and humiliate accusers who have the courage to come forward. The complaint speaks for itself. Our client is looking forward to her day in court. What that says is, I'm not surprised at these antics. I've seen the evidence, and this evidence will stand up in court. Now, when I remember reading that the other day, and I was like, it sounds to me like Gloria's done her due diligence, but the rest of the story. So the gist of it is this. There's way more text messages. So Diddy's team, And I'm saying Diddy's team because I believe it was Diddy's team. So remember, Diddy's team in the hearing today was complaining that there were leaks, that there was leaks to the media, and that they believe the Cassie video was obtained by Homeland Security and then leaked to the media. Well, first of all, you shouldn't have did it, of course. But that was always my hypothesis, because the Homeland Security did the raid, collected all the videos, and then the video made it to CNN of Cassie. Okay. And when that happened, it made me think, that's what you get for saving that tape. And what type of sick, twisted bastard would save a tape like that? Like, you would think you would delete it forever, but there must be something about that that he could use to either, extort other people that were involved. Like, oh, this happened and you helped me hide this tape. There's a reason for him withholding it. So here, this statement from Gloria Allred, it implies to me that she knew that they do these shenanigans and she wasn't moved by it. So going over, I'm going to play a clip from Make It Make Sense. Now, here's what they're starting with. So what this is a text message exchange between the same girl, Thalia. Here we go.
Here's a picture of Big Joe. It reads, "That's the bastard. I contacted."
Hold on. This is between Thalia and her ex-boyfriend. So the ex-boyfriend in the TMZ article, he's implying she offered him $3 million. She claimed that, I'm going to give you $3 million if you back my story, was the claim. And TMZ further stated, here we are. It states, Thalia Graves is suing Diddy and his head of security, Joseph Sherman, for allegedly R-ing her back in 2001. In the suit, she says she was dating one of Diddy's employees, that's the ex-boyfriend we're going to talk about, who was shown a video of the alleged incident of the assault. Okay. However, it says TMZ has seen a 2023 text exchange between Thalia and the man who was her boyfriend. And in it, she reveals she's planning to sue Diddy, quote, because he's the one that has the money. It also appears she offers to give the boyfriend $3 million if he agrees to back her version of the alleged events. After asking him to attest that he's seen the alleged video of the incident, the actual text reads, "What do you need? $3 million. It states, we've actually spoken to the ex who confirmed the validity of the text messages and told us he interpreted it as an attempted bribe. After receiving the text, he says he blocked her phone number and also blocked her on social media." So we're going to read all of the text in context. So what happened is Diddy's legal team, who is claiming, oh, there's too many leaks, leaked to TMZ only the portion they wanted them to see. We are going to look at all of it, and I'm going to ask you, what do you think? Here we are. So it starts out.
Actually reached out to her and told her that there is a tape.
And I'm going to break this down legally. So here's the key part that's different than what the TMZ article says is. The reason she knew there was a tape is because her ex-boyfriend told her it existed. Now, when this happened, she dated the guy. This happened to her. She was then assaulted. He then found out. He actually had to scoop her up and help her up after this happened, but encouraged her to not file anything with the police or anything because it would impact his job. What a weak man. What a weak man. Here we go.
So let's start. Let's start here. Here's a picture of Big Joe. It reads, "That's the bastard. I contacted," and I redacted names. The names are not important, but trust me, I have all the names. "I contacted blank. Hopefully he has a lawyer." Okay, cool. And yes, that's Big Joe. I know. So then Thalia says to her ex-boyfriend, "Email me a synopsis of the video you have seen." Does that sound like?
Yep. Email me a synopsis of the video you've seen says He's seen it, and therefore she's telling him, let me know what you saw.
Somebody who knew about it before, this is the video that you said you've seen. This is before any money was involved. So this is the timeline. They reached out to her, allegedly, told.
So Diddy, her ex-boyfriend who worked for Diddy, saw a video. They were passing around a video of Diddy and Big Joe, his security guard, assaulting her when she was too drunk and everything else to consent.
Told her, you got this ball moving. I don't know if it was a crisis of conscience or you knew that there were things in your past that would come out. We're hearing this a lot. People are now signing these agreements to make sure that they are not prosecuted. Everybody wants the big fish. And in this situation, it's Puffy and whoever Puffy's actual, what do you want to call them? Whoever jumped Puffy in. But earlier in that morning, the victim is asking, send me a synopsis of the video that you saw. But that's not what TMZ wants you to know. Are y'all following this?
Yes, we're following.
Are you following it?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So we move on. So now it's just normal conversation. There, she's asking, what is it called? Hold on, let me take this off.
Watch this part.
She's asking, what is it called? It said, he responds, the Adult Survivors Act. Okay. Thinking I'm going to file a claim.
She says, what is it called? Meaning he's told her, like, hey, I want to let you know there's this video out here. You can make a claim now if you want. But here's the catch. I looked at that date, the 27th. The statute of limitations had run. It was either that day or the next day. So while if we want to give this man some credit, minuscule. He tells her, hey, I saw a video of your attack that happened back in 2001, but he intentionally tells her after the statute of limitations has passed. I want you to keep that in mind as we think about whether or not we want to believe his claim that she's trying to pay him off for $3 million. Here's why. Cassie's lawsuit came out around November 16th to the 18th. Therefore, that was 10 days earlier. If he really wanted to give her the opportunity to get justice, why didn't he tell her when that first came out? Because everybody was talking about that. That would have actually given her time within the statute of limitations to get justice, to call some lawyers. Baby, we would have sped that bad boy up. We would have sped it up. We would have got it on file by the end of that deadline. But him, it says at the top of this, November 27th, telling her about this, it sounds like he wanted to get it off of his chest. And you're going to see more facts, more text messages later. He wanted to get it off of his chest, but not necessarily allow her to get justice.
Especially if that damn tape is in rotation. Does Diddy live in New York or in New Jersey? Boyfriend says, I have no idea where he lives. Guess attorneys will have to find out. Boyfriend responds, I'm sure that's not hard to find out.
Ex-boyfriend, remember this is ex.
Do you have a good attorney there? He responds, not in contact with any.
Not helping her find a lawyer.
You're going to have to be my backbone again and testify about the video that Joe was showing everyone in the office. That is like the worst thing they could do to a woman. Record her incapacitated and being R-word and showed it to everybody.
That statement to me makes me believe her. Because note, she's summarizing what happened to her and he doesn't ever say, no, that didn't happen or no. He's not saying any of that.
Okay. Are y'all following this? Are you following this? Absolutely not. My place here is not to in any way expose my sources.
Yes,
so I will not use
people have said they saw that.
Sorry,
tape. That is correct.
Okay, if you're new to the channel, and I get it. But if you're not new to the channel, you know that
assaulting situations with others. This is an issue.
Dahlia is the person that we're talking about. Her boyfriend is the other party that we're talking about.
Yep.
Okay, you want me to use fake names? We'll say.
So we're going to use fake names.
Let me see what name was used in the court.
Ricardo, I think, is the name that they give to the boyfriend, just so we can keep it straight.
We'll just say the assailant.
Watch this.
But anyway, right now we're at a space where she's asking him to be her backbone and testify for her. Does not sound like somebody who is
The question is,
making
did he
this
go
shit
to the
up. It sounds like somebody who has already spoken to this person and they told them what they knew and that a tape did exist.
The question is, did he go to the party too, or just found out she was assaulted after the tape came out? So apparently the tape was being passed around the office. People around the office were looking at it.
The boy, Ricardo says, I'm willing to testify if you need me as to what I saw on the video and can talk to your lawyer once you file. But I don't want to email anything as I don't want to be the focus of the case. Really don't want that hitting the media with my name attached to it.
There we go. So she asks him, can you send me a summary of what you saw? And he's saying, I'm willing to testify, but I don't want to write it. Let me tell you what really happened from a lawyer's perspective. Here's what happened. She contacted a lawyer. A lawyer was like, wow, I'm so sorry this happened to you. This sounds really interesting. I'm very interested in the case, but I'm going to need you to bring me some concrete proof. If you can get me a text message, something from friends, from whomever to corroborate what you're telling me, I'll take your case. This is what we do. This is how we say it. So then she goes out and she reaches out to those friends to help corroborate her case and be able to get a lawyer to take it. That is distinctly different from trying to pay off a witness. Keep watching. Hit that like, y'all.
I'll read that again. I'm willing to testify if you need me as to what I saw on the video and can talk to your lawyer once you file, but don't want to email anything as I don't want to be the focus of the case. Really don't want that hitting the media with the name attached to it. So I know Ricardo's real name, or whatever you guys want to call them, Dahlia's ex-boyfriend. I know this man's real name. I'm choosing not to say his real name because it will come out in the court case, but I don't know if he willingly went over to the Diddy side or if he was forced to. So out of respect, I'm not saying his name. It really doesn't matter because this is just the tip of the iceberg. The rest of this shit gets even crazier. It involves a whole nother case. What's up, Jolene? I see you in the chat. Guys, we got over 3,600 in the chat. Definitely hit that like.
So y'all, Karen Mitchell says, so he didn't want to lose his job, but he was okay with his girlfriend being assaulted. Exactly. See, that's how Diddy operates, right? He shows you. So I could even see Diddy doing that initially from the perspective of, I'm going to take your girl. And then I'm going to make a video of me taking your girl. And now I own you. Now, interestingly, this ex-boyfriend to this day is still in the music industry and is still someone significant in that industry. In other words, he did it on her back, literally, because he said, don't go to the police. It's going to mess up my relationship. But there's text message. Hold on. Let's keep listening and watching. So there's a text message that refers to how the ex-boyfriend ultimately responded. There we go. There we go. Whoop.
Joe's last name. They say, no idea, in the middle of some stuff. Call me. So she says, call me when you can. I chose to redact this name. Wants to go after Puffy the most because he's the one that has the money. I guess Joe.
So this is this text message line of questioning that got her in trouble. She says, I want to go after Puffy the most. It's as in Puffy versus Joe, the security guard, because he has the money the most.
Joe works for MCA Productions or something, so that's secondary. So I guess I'm not on the video they have, but it's the same MO as the other girls. So I guess once you tell the attorney you've seen the video, then other witnesses will also come and he will file the case.
See? Exactly. So there you go. That is the lawyer. He will file the case. That's her basically saying, my lawyer said he'll take the case, but I need to confirm you're willing to be a witness. That's what we do all the time. That is what we do all the time. We say, hey, your case sounds great, but I need you to bring me some concrete people that will be willing to testify on your behalf.
This reads to me like somebody's ex-boyfriend reaches out, lets them know of a tape of my assault. Now my wheels are turning because I just saw Cassie filed her case and look at what happened there. I need this tape.
Yeah,
I feel like, it's my opinion, that she put too much faith in her boyfriend, because if you remember the actual complaint, let's go to the actual complaint. The boyfriend told her not to report it.
Yeah, the boyfriend did tell her not to report it. So we're gonna skip up. I want to show you. Here we go. Now these text messages, these are from. Hold on. These text messages I'm skipping to, and then we're going to bring it all together. These text messages are from two former executives of Bad Boy who know all these. Men stated, if we heard their names, we know exactly who they are. Okay. These are high ups, and they're talking about remembering what happened to Thalia Graves, this victim.
With Bad Boy household names. My sis, I know you. Yes, she called me. The lady in the red was, and they're saying this man's
Talking
name,
about Thalia.
Ricardo's name. The lady in the red was Ricardo's girlfriend.
So we're calling them.
I remember
Ricardo.
the day it happened. Joe was, and then I redacted the name. Then Ricardo cried at the airport. Oh,
wait, you heard that? The boyfriend cried at the airport. In other words, he realized what he allowed his girlfriend to be subjected to, encouraged her to not tell the police, not do anything to save his career. And of course, where are they now? Not together.
He can always call me
at the airport.
He is so scared. They didn't name them, did they? She will have to, because he told her about the tape on Thanksgiving. I just told you guys that Ricardo told the victim about the tape. It was Ricardo who lit this match.
If it was not for the boyfriend who's now claiming this $3 million situation, telling her the tape existed, she would not have been able to file. And that's how come she filed, but she filed late because she didn't understand that this tape even existed. All right, going on.
But Joe, I remember the date. We was about to go on tour or was coming in from someplace. It was around and they listed the tour. I didn't want to let you know who this person is, so I redacted it. I remember the girl had on a burgundy or red dress that was like a sweater, and Joe kept effing with her. The woman says, "How do you remember all that?" Yeah, I remember that day. I remember Joe was effing with Ricardo bad. The girl told me Ricardo wasn't there. Said Diddy and Joe picked her up from her house and told her they needed to talk to her about Ricardo because his job was at risk in Joe's burgundy truck. But Joe been doing this stuff for years. I just can't believe Puff. Yeah, I remember the boys talking about it. I should try to reach out and help the girl. Did you reach back out to the girl? I just sent her a message.
There we go. So that's the gist. So everybody was talking about this girl being attacked and all of this. So I say that to say the little clip that we saw about the 3 million was in reference to her ex-boyfriend saying, I don't want to be involved. I don't want to do an email. I don't want to do those things. It was not, I want to give you $3 million to say something you had not already said, to agree that you've seen something you already told me you saw. I'm merely saying, if you support my side, I can come to, and you can do that. Under the law, you can absolutely do that. You can tell a friend. If you think you have a star witness, and let's say they live in Wisconsin, and they're like, girl, I'm not finna come to Houston for your court, and you say, if you come, I'll give you $1,000. You're allowed to do that. Is it discoverable? Absolutely. If someone were asked to understand, did anybody on the other side offer you any money to be there, you can acknowledge that. But let's fast forward to the other part that was real sick. So there's a Jane Doe lawsuit. And in that Jane Doe lawsuit, when I was speaking to Mims about this, I said, wait a minute. In that lawsuit, so Mims was referencing the fact this same ex-boyfriend is assailant number 3 in the Jane Doe lawsuit. In that Jane Doe lawsuit, where she's a minor, she is an 11th grader in Detroit who was at a nightclub. Don't ask me why this 11th grader is a nightclub, but she's at a nnightclub. And while at the nightclub, meets Diddy and Harvey Pierre, and they fly her to New York and then assault her. She sees Harvey do some crack in the bathroom, because there's some crackhead shit. Do some crack in the bathroom and other things. And ultimately, and there was the two guys. It was Harvey, it was Diddy, and it was this assailant number 3. Now, when I originally read Jane Doe's lawsuit and it called it assailant number 3, I'd never seen anything like that before. I was telling Mims, I was like, because what happens is you either name the person or you call them John Doe, but you only use John Doe when you don't know someone's name. Here, though, they knew the person's name, and in a footnote, they said, at this point, we're not naming assailant number 3, but if discovery, basically, if the case progresses, we will name them at a later date. Maybe what that says is this person is cooperating, or that this person is so famous and we think this person has money and would be willing to settle with us if we keep them confidential. So we're going to negotiate with them in confidentiality for him to give us something of value, whether it is money or whether it is giving us tapes or flipping on the other two effectively by not naming him, because they either have to put his real name and they cannot just do John Doe. You cannot use John Doe when you actually know who the person is. They saved this guy's butt. So that also makes me think at one point he was being helpful and at some point he has flipped. Okay. So the gist of the true situation with Thalia Graves and the $3 million is that it appears her boyfriend is the one who told her from the beginning this tape existed, that is your proof that this happened. But he told her as the statute of limitations was expiring on purpose because he didn't actually want her to get justice. He just wanted her to know this existed. Okay. So then once she knew it existed, she was like, her wheels started turning. Okay, let me call a lawyer. Let me exercise my options. And he was very kind of standoffish, where he wasn't helpful physically because he was saying, I'm not going to write an email. I'm not going to do these things. But that also makes sense because if he's been rocking with Diddy since 2001, 23 years. He's this man's bestie. After watching all of that, it is disgusting. This just goes to show how powerful Diddy has been over all these years, right? So he's rocking with this person. And then now that he's assailant number 3, I would not be surprised. This is my guess. Because Diddy, Harvey Pierre, and him are all listed in the same lawsuit. Diddy may have done one of those things like he did with Shine. Oh, yeah, man. You know, I want you to just corroborate what I said. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of you. He could have said, I'll take care of your legal fees. I'll do any of that. Oh, we could, you know, you can use one of the lawyers at the firm that I use. Any of that. Because these lawsuits are going to be very expensive to defend as well. And on the defense side, you don't get to defend these on a contingency basis. So I would not be surprised if Diddy reached out to him and said, hey, we're already in this other lawsuit together. Keep your mouth shut. I'll pay for your lawyer. Tell me your thoughts in the chat. Tell me your thoughts in the chat. Because why else would he flip on them? Diddy has something on assailant number 3, Ricardo, the boyfriend. Remember, Ricardo was a fake name. He has something on him that's keeping this man quiet. We ain't got 400 likes, but we got almost 1,000 people in the chat. So let's hit that. Absolutely. It says he slept with all of Kim's. Kenya says, ooh, he slept with all of Kim's friends and had a dang child with 1 or 2. Stole Kim from Al, on and on. Depending on what you believe, diabolical. I hear you. Yeah, Ricardo's not his real name. That's just where we're using to keep names and people. Can I do a background check on Dr. Umar and these alleged fake boys schools? You know what? I have done one on him before. I'll do it again. Yeah. He had like some debts. He has a cocaine charge. Last I checked, Dr. Umar do a little white girl. So yeah, I can get back to that. Allegedly. I'll double check that, Dr. Umar, because I'm sure you're watching. But overall with the Thalia Graves case, I want you to know there's so much more than what we see. And it also seems like people are beginning to wonder. I want to hear in the chat. What do you think? Do you think TMZ might be in the pocket of Diddy's lawyers? I think they probably are. I think we wouldn't be surprised if we found a correlation between Harvey Lewin, the executive and founder of TMZ, and someone on the legal team of Diddy's side, whether they went to law school together or play golf together or just butt buddies, because Harvey's very gay too. Maybe they do it to each other. I don't know. But there seems to be a correlation where it seems as though TMZ is getting fed information. Because the thing that really struck me with the text messages is the fact that TMZ, when they ran the article initially talking about the $3 million that was, supposed to be offered to pay him off, they said TMZ has seen the text. Y'all tell me this. When in the hell have you ever seen TMZ say, oh, we saw this? Hell no. TMZ will put that sucker on the screen. TMZ is all about receipts. And this is the one time we don't see a receipt. Why? Because if we had seen that receipt on the screen, we would have had questions. We would have wanted to know, wait, let me see the text above. Let me see the text below. Let me see the entire paragraph, not this excerpt of a sentence. That's what makes me think TMZ is probably getting broken off by Diddy and his legal team. And so I want you to pay close attention to the reporting that we see from TMZ, because whereas generally in any other form of reporting, TMZ is all about the receipts, they just conveniently have not been that way here. Yes. And on that note, we're going to go on to the final case on the docket tonight, Pastor Keion Henderson and his bling, bling, bling church and reputation. Here we go. Pastor Keion. So Pastor Keion is Shawnee O'Neal's new husband. Pastor Keion Henderson has been leading the Lighthouse Church Ministries and Church here in Houston, Texas. He's been leading, he says 15 years, but I could see that with respect to the property they're at now, they've owned it since at least 2019. I'm going to play a clip for you that recently went viral that gives his take and his view on how we should help the poor.
Multiplication. Here's the other problem with the church is that anytime a person is in need, y'all go to running and dropping money. But let me tell you something, the poor will be with you always. And there is no blessing connected to blessing the poor other than getting back what you gave to them, but no multiplication. Multiplication is segregated for tithes and offering. When you give to the poor, the only thing you do is help them, but you don't help yourself. So when you give $1 to somebody on the street talking about I did my job, God like, thank you, but it ain't gonna help you. Bible. Charity does not bring wealth. What? Only the tithe does that.
Wait. You heard somebody in the congregation who was videoing and say, what? He says, charity does not bring wealth, only the tithe does. In other words,
matter of fact, you don't believe me? Guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna preach on it.
This is not preach. This is trash. In other words, what he's saying is you helping the poor, it's not going to bring you any good fortune with the Lord, but you giving him your 10%, your 20%, what you have or what you don't have, you're giving it to him. That's what's going to bless you. I wanted to say N-word, F-word, U-word, but I'm not going to say those words. As Jesus' favorite sinner, I am going to be above reproach here, okay? So I'm going to handle this story above reproach as the kind Gentile woman that I am, okay? We're just going to hear this excerpt one more time. He says, giving to the poor isn't going to give you any favor with the Lord, but tithing, giving it, putting it in his pocket.
Multiplication. Here's the other problem with the church is that anytime a person is in need, y'all go to running and dropping money. But let me tell you something, the poor will be with you always. And there is no blessing connected to blessing the poor other than getting back what you gave to them, but no multiplication. Multiplication is segregated for tithes and offering. When you give to the poor, the only thing you do is help them, but you don't help yourself.
First of all, let's define poor, because Pastor Keion, based on the background check I ran on you, you might be one of them. First of all, you don't currently own any assets. The church is owned by the nonprofit. You don't own a home anywhere, but you're living in Shawnee's. So that's one thing. So let's just define the poor. Now, you are preaching in a $1,400 blouse, okay? Beautiful blouse. I think that vest is kind of doing too much, but you've got that blouse on, right? And you're preaching in this $1,400 blouse, right? Where you just a few weeks ago asked members of your congregation to provide you with, $2,100. You wanted $2,100 from 21 people. We're going to play that clip. We're going to play that clip next. This is really, really important. Oh, wait. Somebody said, child, who divorces Shaq? Now, I'll tell you this. She was probably very right and getting rid of Shaq, I'll say this. I'm a nobody. And I knew like 5 of Shaq's mistresses, okay? He used to date a girl who looked just like me. He was like my size and went to college, which disgusted me because in college I was 100 pounds, okay? I'm 5'4" and 3/4. So I like to say I'm 5'5", but I'm really not. I'm 5'4". She was a little bitty thing. She was 100 pounds and I was disgusted by it. The other thing is he had girls in Houston. He had girls in Miami. Like I said, I know 4 of his mistresses back then, or knew of 4 of his mistresses. So if I knew of 4, I think Shawnee probably knew of 40, and she probably just got sick of the disrespect. Back then, he was actually quite generous. I knew of a girl who had a townhouse, allegedly, according to her. So I just say this, and then according to Superhead, his Peter Weeder is the size of a shrimp, and not a prawn, but a shrimp. So when you combine all of those things together, I don't blame Shawnee. I would skedaddle too. You're going to cheat on me with your little shrimp dick, and then I've got to be concerned that you're going to give me AIDS. There's no amount of money in this world that's going to make me pay for AIDS, because while Magic Johnson was able to pay away the AIDS, I don't believe that as Jesus' favorite sinner, I have quite the same luck. Now, back to the program and the issue at hand. Here is a clip right after the storm where Pastor Keion is seeking assistance for the church, allegedly.
I'm asking 2,100 people to give $2,100 in the next 21 days.
Greetings, y'all, and welcome to Seek Things Above TV.
Hold on. Yes. So this, okay, so allegedly he's asking,
damaged, and
he's asking for that money because these are the damages that the church suffered after one of the Houston storms. Here we go. Let me show you. And then this is deplorable. Like it's horrible. It's gone through this, but we're going to break down. So in the gist of what he's saying is, in the midst of this, he says, this is what we went through, but I want to rebuild. I don't just want to rebuild the church. I want to build the church better and brighter and bigger than it ever was before. Because even when we did have the church, they had the church and they had 3 other locations, satellite locations. He said it still wasn't big enough for the amount of ministry that he wanted to provide everyone. Okay. So these are some of those clips. I don't know. Let's hear some more of the lies.
Thank you for using your hard-earned time and resources to call me your online pastor. Some of you I've never met, but I feel like I know you in my heart. And because you've helped us to get here, I'm going to call on you to help us to get there. I need you to help us in rebuilding. You know, we were getting ready to do this in October anyway, and those of you all who've watched me, you've heard me say that it was time for us to expand our sanctuary.
Hold on. He says, we were getting ready to do this in November anyway. Keep listening.
We were turning 600 to 700 people away every week. The parking was abysmal, but we made it. I told our church that we were going to start over. And yet again, I believe God said, Keion, your faith was too small. So let me blow the building down so you can build what I put in your heart. I want to increase the size of our sanctuary by 2. I want to double the size of it so that no one who has an opportunity to get in is turned away because we don't have a seat. We can't wait on the insurance company to do that.
He said, we can't wait on the insurance company to do that. See, jurors, hey guys, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I call those of you who have subscribed to jury. I've looked at these comments, jurors all through. Y'all don't have insurance. Y'all don't have insurance. Listen, I am a Texas attorney who is an attorney that gets to the insurance policies. This is a bold-faced lie. We can't wait on the insurance company to do it. Let me tell you something. Insurance moves faster than FEMA in times, okay? He could have had that insurance check in less than 30 days and probably did, because I'm going to do that breakdown. So, yes, you guys who are saying insurance, you are absolutely freaking right.
I need you from around the world. If I've ever preached a message that has touched your spirit.
I'm not touched.
If I've ever spoken into your life and you started the company that you were not going to start had I not pushed you in faith.
You didn't push me.
If you were thinking about ending your own life, but somehow God gave me a word that made you fight
Not me.
to live another day,
I'm glad everybody else is still here.
I need you. I won't pretend like I can do.
He wants your $2,100. He saved your life. Give him $2,100. That's what he's talking about. Whether you have it or not, he wants you to give it to him.
This by myself. If I could do this alone, trust me, it would be done already. But I am a feeble man who puts himself at the mercy of the court and asks you to join me.
Let us know if you're touched. If you're touched in the chat, tell me to say, oh, he touched me.
In a journey, because we do not have time to waste.
You have the time. Let me tell you why. You know, I mean, you get 30 more seconds of lies.
We cannot
then
build and we cannot raise money for 3 years and then build another 2 years and have all of these people displaced. God gave me a vision and he said we can do it in 21 days. I'm asking 2,100 people
Jesus.
to give $2,100 in the next 21 days. And what we're calling it is out of the harbor. You see, a ship is safe in the harbor, but that's not what it was designed for. And right now, our ship is in the harbor, but you're going to help me through focus and resources to come sailing out of the harbor.
Okay, shut up. Okay, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Stop lying on my Lord Jesus Christ and Savior. We're just going to jump into it. Here we are. All right, let me see. Which one of these is we? I'm just shut up. Zip it. I'm sick of this. Sick of this shit. All right, so we're going to start with this. This is the deed for the church. I understand that it's kind of small. I'm going to kind of break it down for you guys. I'm going to break it down for you and make a little adjustment. Maybe that'll do it. All right, this is the deed for the church. And with the deed for the church, one of the first things I want to bring your attention to, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, because I love my jury. Thank you guys. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. If you have not hit the like button, is what we're going to get to is number one. This is the main location of the church. Okay. It is here. Bop, bop, bop. All right. We got it. Damn, damn, damn. Then we're going to go on. There is a mortgage. There is a note. He paid $5.4 million for the church at Plain State Bank. So he went to an actual bank, $5.4 million in 2019. I want you to pay attention to that. Also, look at paragraph 6 at the bottom. I know it's kind of small, guys. Let's see here. Insurance requirements. Grantors will keep the premises insured against hazards and in such companies, forms, and amounts as may be required by the beneficiary, blah, blah, blah. Basically, this is just confirming that they must keep insurance. And if they, for some reason, let the insurance lapse, that the mortgager has a right in number 7 to add insurance to the policy. Let me tell you something a little stupid. Okay, let me tell you something. There's insurance on this place. So really, if anything, he should be asking, hey, help us raise the money for the deductible. That's fair. That's reasonable. We can do that, right? Ashton, thank you so much for the super chat. She said, why would Shawnee even marry this man? How embarrassing, including a man. Again, he don't own a home right now. But he's in hers. He has owned homes in the past. He had one in Fort Wayne. He has one up where, he was before. He previously had one. He don't have one right now. He up in her house. Okay. He in Shawnee's house. But more importantly, I just want you to see for your own eyes, there is a provision here that mandates insurance. And number 2, that says if insurance has lapsed, the mortgager, anybody in this chat who has a mortgage, I have multiple mortgages, I have multiple properties. And then one of mine, the mortgage company thought my insurance had lapsed and they sent me a letter saying, we're going to force place insurance. And whenever they do that, that dollar amount is like twice what you would pay if it was your own. So there is always insurance on a mortgage property. Again, $5.4 million is what they got the mortgage for 5 years ago in 2019. We're going to go to what they owe today. Here. This was January. Now, this is the promissory note. Okay. This is the promissory note. I'm going to zoom into what you care about because it's a lot going on. But here, This reiterates the promissory note. This is literally the promise to pay and what those terms are. The interest rate, got a good little interest rate, y'all. On number 4, the interest rate is basically it's never going to be lower than 5.75 and it'll never be more than 6.25. I was like, okay, that's cool. But number 2, 5 years later, acknowledge the outstanding balance. 5 years later, and they owe 5.3 million. So it's 5 million plus there's a remaining 370K will be dispersed pursuant to a construction loan. Y'all, this means in 5 years, this man ain't paid down near nothing principal. Nary nothing on his mortgage. Now, these are documents. I'm going to go to the end so you can see. This is a document from last year, 2023, January. Stay with me. Stay with me. Can you imagine if you had your house for 5 years and didn't knock nothing off your principal? Your spouse, if you have one, will be mad at you. If you don't have a spouse, you would be mad at you. Who does that? Somebody who is not properly managing their money. All right. So now this is the most recent promissory note document. All right. Fast forward. We're going to go to the same provision. I just want to know. I was like, all right, what's up? Same thing. Number 2, June of 2023 shows they still owe 5.3. They ain't paid near nothing down on the principal. 5.3 is basically 500,000 plus a 3, right? And then it goes on. Let's see, in this other section, which is payment schedule. So again, paragraph 2 is the acknowledgement of the outstanding balance of 5.3 million. You ain't paid nothing down. I'm not saying he hasn't made a payment. No. He's made a payment. What I'm saying is they haven't paid any principal. In other words, they ain't got no equity, baby. They probably don't have any equity in the property because to get equity, you got to either pay down the property or it must appreciate. In this economy and in this market and with that type of property, a church property, it's not going to have the same kind of equity growth as like somebody's house, right? Because you got to wait for someone else to be like, you know what? I want a $5 million church today. I'm going to wake up and buy me a $5 million church off there in Humble, Texas. Says no one, hardly ever. Okay? Hardly ever. Again, so it says here, you go down to 5, payment schedule, the monthly payments are $35,000 a month. $35,000 a month. No one is asking you to give them $2,100 from 2,100 people. But also, the schedule is that basically they have renewed this loan through April of 2028. The gist of it is these people, even at this $35,000 a month through 2028, they are not knocking down any of the principal. Here's what that means. That means these people will have owned this property for 9 years, almost a decade, and they had no equity. Won't have no equity. The point is this. This man's, the funds that he's telling you, I want to rebuild bigger and better. It's unlikely. I'm not going to say it's a bold-faced lie. It may not be a bold-faced lie. It may not be bold-faced, but it is bold. What it does mean is that more than likely, there's 2 reasons in this kind of situations you would want to raise funds. Number 1, you didn't have insurance like you were supposed to have. I do believe he has insurance. And we're going to break down with the insurance what it would actually cover and why you don't need to be bothering these people for this $4 million. So it's either you didn't have the insurance or he's raising the money to pay down his mortgage. There's nothing wrong with that, but you need to be honest with the public. You can want to pay down your mortgage, but you need to be clear. Hey, I ain't paid down this mortgage in 5 years. Also, he probably can't get qualified for a long-term mortgage, which is why he just keeps trying to renew this interest only. This is called an interest-only loan. You get interest-only loans when you think a property is going to appreciate. You could also get it in a situation where you're like, we're going to grow. We're going to get more what? Ties. We're going to get more ties. And then I'll be able to pay off this building fund. I'll be able to pay off this debt. but it's also financially irresponsible, because those 5 years when he had this interest only, those were the years when the interest rates were the cheapest in the history of American interest rates, right? This was 2019, 20, 21, 22, all of that. So in other words, he's asking you to give him 4.4 million so that he can keep mismanaging funds, is what this appears. Because with that 4.4, he either wants to pay off the debt that he should have been knocking down the mortgage, but more importantly, his deductible ain't that. His deductible at the very height, this property, as we said, was 5.4 million. Okay, 5.4 million. And the deductible on the high end would be 5%. Now, sometimes you can have a storm deductible. It is highly unlikely. Most places don't have a storm deductible. Can be 5% or 10%. It depends on it. But let's say the storm deductible was 10%. That would be $540,000. But this man don't want it. He said, I don't want to use insurance. Nobody cares what you want when you're asking other people for money in a $1,400 blouse. Take off your blouse, sir. Take off your blouse, pastor. Pastor, take off your blouse, okay? Because it on the absolute most ridiculous highest end, more than likely, usually your deductible is 1%. Okay. I'm going to say, let's say they told him it was a 5% deductible, a 5% deductible on a $5 million property. And remember, this isn't a tear down. Okay. There's stuff inside of it. There's all of that. Now he's claiming that it was 3 of his properties and it's worth 20 million. Even still, your deductible is not based on how much your stuff is worth. Your deductible is based on the policy. So even then, let's say if even with all of that, he said, oh, it was 20 million and there's depreciation and there's this and there's that. Baby, I'm a lawyer. And in this kind of claim, you'd hire an attorney to help you with your claim, right? To file your claim. And what we do is we coach you through, we help you say, okay, this is how you file everything so that even once you pay your deductible, you get more than enough. My point is, it'd be one thing if he was asking everyone for the deductible, which on the very highest end for that property, which is 5.4 million, on the absolute highest end, if it was a 10% deductible, would be $540,000. That's the rebuild. Now he's saying, I want to build it bigger and better. Here's the problem. A bank won't even give you this. Why? Because if a bank would have gave it to you, you would have got the loan. You wouldn't keep getting this interest-only loan. Interest-only loans are for people who cannot qualify for a loan with better terms, because with an interest-only loan, you never own the property. So let me give you an example. Interest only is like if it's a fix and flip, you always get interest only. Why? Because your expectation is that, hey, we're going to sell this property in 6 months. So why should I worry about paying down all this principal? Makes perfect sense. So unless he's planning on selling the church, which he's not. That's not happening here. It's a matter of, it appears to be financial mismanagement, or he's not doing with the funds what he's claiming to do. Because I need somebody in the chat. Help me, y'all. Help me in the chat to understand why you wouldn't just want to pay the deductible and get your church back up running. I am telling you, as an attorney who's done these kind of claims before, that check would have cleared his account in less than 30 days. And when he's like, oh, we don't have time to take 3 years to build a church. First of all, you need to get the church you have, get back going, because you over there at Joel Osteen's church lying on the pulpit, talking about you don't need to help the poor. Go ahead, hit that like, y'all. Let's hit that like. But second of all, just be honest. If you want to raise this money to pay off your mortgage, that's fine. Because what happens is if he wants a larger loan, he has to pay down what he already has. I had a special consultation. I had a consultation with a lender. If you are looking for a lender anywhere in America, I encourage you. I'm going to drop the link below. I'll have that link down there. LNH Lending. Okay, you can go to LNH Lending, which stands for Lockett and Homes. They're based in Texas, but they lend across America. If you want to do fix and flips, if you want to get into industry, now don't come over here if you got some foreclosures and stuff. They will not help you, but they know what they're talking about. And the point is, He's over there. Yep. Biggie Shorty said he is paying his way in the room with former NBA players and wives. Yes. But what that money is not necessary for is rebuilding a church, because there is insurance deductibles, and insurance deductibles, even with depreciation, because what happens is you articulate how much stuff was worth, right? But your church has only been there for 5 years. Ain't that much depreciation? Everything y'all got is new. I've been up in there. Let me tell you, this is the only church I've ever been to in my entire life that I got up and I walked out of a sermon. I was in that church about a year ago. My father and I, we were there, and it was, I don't know, past the anniversary, something they had going on, more begging. All he do is beg. He was in there begging, and they had a guest pastor take the mic and say, God has touched my spirit, and I feel like, stand up if you got $100 to give. I can't stand, I grew up Catholic, so I can't stand when they try to humiliate people who don't have more to give, which I felt like that technique does. So he was like, stand up, you got $100 to give. So multiple people stand up and said, stand up and come down here and bring your $100 down. So it's like, oh, okay. So now I'm a loser if I don't have $100 in my pocket to bring. First of all, I got Cash App, stupid. But even then. So after he said $100, he said, and the spirit told me it's somebody in here with $500 to give. Stand up if you got $500 to give. And people got to clap. He said, it's somebody in here with $1,000. I know it. And he got to looking around. You got $1,000 to give. Come down here. And then he said, and I know it. The Lord has told me it's somebody in here who's going to bless us with $2,500. I stood up. I looked at my dad. I said, get up. Everybody got to clapping. I said, oh, no, I'm going home. Baby, they was clapping to me like I was about to go down there and give them $2,500. I'm not. I'm out of here. I'm scramming. Okay, scram. I'm about to scram. Me and my Jesus got to go. Because this auctioneer style foolishness, I don't want no part of. I got up. I said, Daddy, come on, we going. He said, right now? I said, yes. The devil is in here. And unless you want to be a part of it, you need to come on. Come on, we got to skedaddle. He said, oh, hell. And Daddy got up with me. He was driving anyway, so he had to come. I said, oh, ain't no way. But the gist of this is, I want to know what you think. What do you think this it totals up to 4.4 million. If 2,100 people give this man that, what's interesting is that's basically the mortgage. The mortgage balance was $5 million. And he's trying to get 4.4 million to give on that. I believe it was to pay down that mortgage, and then he could go do whatever he wants to do with it. But just say that. Don't act like the church can't go on without this 4 million, because that's a bold-faced lie. You have insurance, and more than that, the smarter move, get your insurance money, because you already been paying on the insurance, right? You've been paying. Get the insurance money, rebuild, and then if you want to have a building fund, have a building fund, and you can expand. But the thing of it is this, ain't no bank going to give him a traditional loan, which he should have been able to get a traditional loan in the last 5 years. He should have already been able to get that. But no bank is going to give that to you when you're mismanaging funds. So if those financials are not up to snuff, if those financials show that you taking jets and things, taking Shawnee here and there, and that it's not sound, that your expenses are not supportive of the amount of mortgage that you need to pay to do this growth, no one's going to give it to you. And right now, he's asking people to dig into their family funds because ain't nobody trying to give it to him. It says he needs extra money for that helicopter landing pad. Yeah, he better go on $4.4 million tax free. Hit that like button. So again, I'm going to put these documents back up here. So we got the deed. Put it up here big. So we got the deed here. This says clear as day. They got to have insurance. Excuse me. Yep. Paragraph 7, paragraph 6. You got to have insurance. So they're supposed to have insurance. It also shows they paid $5.4 million in the upper paragraphs. But he's bothering people. He wants $4.4 million, okay, to expand. But you don't want to pay a deductible. He ain't talking about, he said, we don't want to wait. We don't want to wait for insurance. Insurance will take less than 30 days, I guarantee you. And then we've got the most recent note here, this says in 5 years, because here's what I want to show you. These are all the modifications of the agreement. It started, it's the October of 2019. He signed everything to get the church. So it says that in paragraph 1, October 20th or 2019, October 20th or 29th of 2019. Then it got extended a year later, November, for 1 year. Again in 21, 1 year. In 22, it looks like 6 months. Another time in 22, 6 months. Another time in 22, it looks like 6 months there. Hold on. And then fast forwards us to now, where he ain't paid no principal. In other words, he's not paying down to own the church. You can't get a building fund loan to expand when you're not paying down what you already have. That's the bottom line. So, Kenny Black said he's about to have those deacons taking people out individually for coffee to discuss time. Oh my God, that's exactly what they do. Okay, that's not how a bank looks at giving a loan. How does the bank look at giving a loan? Banks look at what are your financials, right? So they don't look at just like what you paid on the interest only loan, because they know interest only loan is interest. Up here we go. Maddie says banker here makes complete sense. They need to see concrete financials. They need to see growth. They need to see a variety of things, but they're not going to give you a loan to expand when you haven't paid down the loan you already have that's interest only. So, yeah, Biggie Shorty said, trying to keep up. Yep. Don't be bullied to give money. Yeah. Somebody said, Blaze Brown said he allegedly used the money to keep up with wealthy Shawnee O'Neal. That is believable. We have seen that time and time and time. No, let's not forget he moved into her house. Okay. He did have a house. He had a nice house. It wasn't $1 million house, but it was a quite nice house that he had with his wife and so forth beforehand. Purple Rain said, what in the Bishop Greenleaf is going on? Somebody said Bishop Cakes. Oh, he got a big old booty. I don't know. I never looked. Thank you, Maya. My question is then, how come he's not in foreclosure for not making payments on the principal amount? I've covered that. Okay. He has an interest only loan, so he's not required to make principal payments. So I said before, and it's okay. You might be joining a little bit later. I'm not saying he hasn't made payments. I'm saying he hasn't made principal payments. So in 5 years, if you had been making payments that were both interest and principal, you would have cut into this. In its 5 years at $35,000 a month. Somebody do that. I'm gonna do that calculation right now. 5 years. Now, obviously, the majority of the first years is a lot of interest, but he has a great interest rate, 5.5% to 6.5%. Is for a $5.4 million loan is a great rate. 35,000 times 12, okay, times 5 years. That's $2.1 million. Obviously, a lot of that would be going to interest. But if this was a traditional loan, $2.1 million, he would have knocked something up into that, okay? Biggie is saying, I think that maybe what he's trying to avoid is foreclosure. No, he's not at risk at foreclosure. What I'm saying is he's not paying down. He's not creating equity. So that's why he's not able to get a building fund loan right now. You've got to get more. You've got to start paying into the principal, right? When you pay into principal, that's what gets you equity. Or if your property appreciates, that's what gets you equity. So he's just paying the interest. It's just like with your credit card. Think of it with credit card. You know, you get your credit card and they're like, hey, every month, if you make this monthly payment, and then it's like, warning, if you make this monthly payment, it's going to take you 28 years to pay us back $5,000, right? And you're like, well, shit, I don't want to be paying for 28 years to give you $5,000. I'm going to put more on it. That's what we're dealing with here. So yeah, halfway paid off. Yes. So in other words, the bottom line is this 4.4 million is going to pay the mortgage, or if he didn't have insurance, to make up for the fact that his contract said he had to have insurance and he didn't. I believe he likely had insurance, but more importantly, that insurance deductible at its height is like $500,000. So just say that. Ask people for 500. But this other 4.4 million, so you could buy these blouses and whatever else you got going on, is ridiculous. Is absolutely ridiculous. So thank you guys for joining us. If you got any other questions below, feel free to drop them. Thank you. Arinkia says the Keion Henderson breakdown makes perfect sense. And let us know what you $4.4 million, baby. There's a lot of things I could do with that. So I hope he goes ahead. I hope their church rebuilds. I know there's people that he ministers to. I don't know them personally, but I'm sure it's somebody. And I hope they go ahead, pay that insurance deductible, get that process going, go ahead and rebuild. And it's probably if you build it, they will come thing. But you got to stop saying dumb things on the internet like, don't give to the poor. It's not going to help you. Just give to me and tithe. Because I'm not buying you no more of them blouses, sir. No more. Thank you guys. Love you. It's your legal bestie, Attorney Simone. Take care.